The topics discussed and the information provided on this program is for general information. The hosts of this show are not medical professionals and are expressing their personal views and stories related to their individual lives. Their views are not intended to be used or taken as medical information. If you or a family member have suffered a traumatic brain injury, you should seek help from a practicing licensed physician.
We hope to help you. We want you to know that there's some life after the hurt. Whittaker, and welcome to Brain Mechanics. Keep in mind that each of us have a story to tell after a traumatic brain injury or an issue with someone we know or maybe ourselves. And what we want you to know is that even though we're not medical professionals or lawyers or doctors of any kind, there is hope after the help, and that's how we can do it. We have today Dave Lundquist with me, as well as our host, Matt Duffin.
Hey.
Yay!
Ready to go for his clap.
It's a small audience, guys. Small audience.
Yeah, we're not allowed to have a large audience.
Well, it's important this week. Well, we're not allowed to have an audience because we're so special. We don't want to be overwhelmed. That's what you told me, Matt. Anyway, today we're discussing. Well, the month is brain injury awareness, and this is an ongoing issue, and especially with all the conflicts and service people and motorcycles, and gosh knows how injuries can happen. But Matt's here to discuss that with us today, and then also some kind of help and precautions for people who are traumatic brain injury, highly functioning, but at the same time how we need to help and protect them. Matt?
Mahlon, thank you.
You're welcome, man.
David, thank you for being here with us again. These are my brain mechanics. Of one through organized life, one through school life.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Friends they became.
Well,
Much like Larry Bird is my friend, but I don't personally know him.
Distant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's Brain Injury Awareness Month, and green is the color for brain injury, so. Anyway.
Well, Matt, tell us about Brain Injury Awareness Month and what we would hope that people would understand about this. And brain injury, what all does it include, too? And I think this is important for people to understand. It's not just a TBI or traumatic brain injury from a blow or motorcycle wreck, but it's other things, is it not?
Oh, yeah, strokes. I mean, common knowledge to people. You know, when you lose oxygen to parts of your brain, that part just died. I'm not laughing at you. But that part just died, and it's not coming back.
Well,
you have to build new ways around it.
Communicate.
Sure.
And it takes a minute to do that. You know, it's where caregivers have to be so patient because it takes time.
A long time.
And nobody gets as frustrated as the survivor itself. Yeah. Even if your family stayed together, if it was your son, your uncle, aunt, whatever.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
they're not the same.
High incidence of divorce and separations and conflict within the family when traumatic brain injury affects you, because the person may not be the same. They might have been the sweetest thing and now not so much. Or, they were capable of fully functioning. We have a friend who had a stroke who is fully functioning in his mind, but he can't form the words, and he gets so frustrated in trying to have a conversation with us. It's just so difficult for him. He's got the words in there, and so he's comfortable with us now, and he says, like it begins with an S. And in context of the sentence, we're able to help him finish it. And he's not embarrassed by it. But initially, when we met him, oh boy.
Well, sure. And from my side, and you out there that have brain injury side, if we want help, trust me, we'll ask for it. Do we appreciate help? Yeah.
Might not always show it.
We
Keep
don't,
that in mind.
But please let us try to finish our sentences. We might get lost on knowing a word. I might forget Dave's name. I mean, you know, it just happens. And just,
Well, I think the thing that that both suggested it is that be patient with them. Be patient with them. I don't have, you know, I don't know all the different types of brain injuries, you know, and I don't know which diseases affect the mind. I'm assuming Parkinson's is one of them, you know, but in being patient with them, yeah, they do have something to say, and they could talk. Don't finish their sentences. Just wait. Just wait.
right.
And I learned that a long time ago from my mom. You know, the way she talked to me about being patient with someone who's can answer but is slow to answer.
I've had people in my support group, I'm not going to name names, that's had Parkinson's, was coming on. You know, she had surgery out in the West, part of America, to rewire her brains. It was a practice at the time to stop Parkinson's,
Okay.
and it did. However, the first few years after the surgery, and I'd still highly recommend it, she didn't realize it. It took a while. We got to talking, yada, yada. Gaining Wayne, she had brain injury from them rewiring, putting little wires, just some little bitty little things, and little bitty surgeons going in and doing all that test, you know. But it still disturbed her brain. Had nothing to do with the Parkinson's, although it was being calmed, you know, at the same time. It was
Yeah.
trauma after trauma. But, you know, that's one of the things they didn't let her know and they wasn't aware of at the time. And the Matt Duffin radio show has since been in contact with those people years ago because people need to know that.
Yeah.
Is it a lifelong ailment to her? Yes, it's not as bad as it first was, as you well know. I mean, the first few years was really difficult.
Difficult, yes.
Yeah.
And she was going through the difficulty in trying to come through it, and the Parkinson's was trying to come back and hit, and very combative.
Yeah, and it's
She's a beautiful, sweet
becomes
woman,
a
but-
challenge for caregivers.
Oh, boy.
You know, I've seen so many that get worn out and abandoned, and that's what the purpose of this show is. Matt's radio show, for the purpose of us being here, is there's help out there. Okay, there's hope after the hurt, so to speak, as I say. Please feel free to reach out. That's what the Facebook page and that sort of thing. You know, or call.
Oh.
Don't get too frustrated too quick. All right. We've been there, done that.
Going
As I
through it
joke
again.
about, yeah, got the T-shirt. You know, so reach out. I know you're frustrated. I know how hard it is. Been there, done that. But there's hope, and we're going to try and help you out. Now,
As I was talking yesterday with my neuropsychologist that I've had hand on hand for years and years, with one of my educators, you know, if something goes wrong in your life, and it's major, and nothing that you can do about, you know, if there's a miracle, you know, how long would the miracle still in reality take? Such as a situation I'm going through, for the work to be done, a miracle to happen.
we're jumping ahead on our topics, but we're going to go
Right,
ahead.
but I'm still saying it would be like December, maybe again, before it would be completed again.
Well, that's one of the
Here I
things
go
that
Yeah, let's stay off that topic for now, but yeah.
No. But personally, that I've experienced in my situation is the incompleteness of time.
Oh, yeah.
The understanding, you know, what day is this? When did we do that? Weren't we doing this? Kind of, and it's not a confusion. It's an inability to appreciate time. Time for us is fairly linear, and we understand where we're at, what we're doing, and oh yeah, we did that last week.
You still have jobs, you still have families to take care of.
Structure,
You
right.
still have things that you still feel responsible and you have to do.
And that's the most important thing, please.
And our responsibility is pretty much left. We don't,
Well-
we want to have them, but
But setting up structure, wouldn't you agree that having particular, okay, we eat now, we do this,
Yeah.
because of the loss of time is very frightening and very devastating to them. You know, you can find somebody that's up at 3 in the morning having breakfast or dinner or running the vacuum cleaner. I mean, you know, it's
Working, finishing, listening to our radio shows while they're doing their laundry. I mean, I've talked to many
Need something
people.
to put them to sleep. You know.
structure and organization is very important. But the
you know,
purpose of the
Well, that's one of the good things about Brain Injury Radio, if I can plug us,
yeah.
is, you
We're here to
know,
help.
we are on every night. So there is a voice of some kind, some injury, some supporter, some doctor, somebody that's been through it. And, you know, discussions are braininjuryradio.com about caregiving, all through. You never know, but it's on every night.
All right.
So
Well, seek
can
that out.
get some common bonding.
And as a caregiver, don't get too frustrated. Okay, I know it's going to be, you're going to walk outside and, as I joke about, smoke that mental cigarette and wonder what in the world. And you know, I rely on my faith, a calmness, setting aside those things that I can't affect, and focusing on the things that I can. Basically, I think the Serenity Prayer is used for AA. It won't hurt you at either. And, you know, God grant me the serenity to accept, to change the things I can and accept those that I can't, and to know the difference. And, you know, but don't be afraid to use faith as well. Okay, seek someone out that you can talk to. It's a neighbor, it's a friend, it's a guy down the street. I don't know who it is, but you're going to have to build a special relationship. But it's not bad to build a special relationship between yourself and the big guy as well. So that's what I call him anyway. You know, set those things aside that you need to set aside.
Excuse me real quick, does life change for a stroke victim, for, you know, somebody's got an aneurysm, you know, somebody's hit their head too hard? Yeah, life changed. There ain't nothing they can do about it. But if you love the person you're with, as Mahlon did, and as you know people, this is where you have to change too. Your life just changed too.
Rather
Because if it
radically, yeah.
didn't, then collect your money from the insurance and the wreck they were on in and go on. I mean, because that happens. I mean, I just know people where that happens.
Well, and sadly, that's
It is sad.
Well, statistically, what is the breakup after traumatic brain injury? It's in the 70s, 80s.
It's almost 80-some%. 81 last time.
And there's
I saw.
such a change, you
And
know.
family or relationship, you know.
Same.
Yeah.
Well, back when you know, I
And
wrote.
the judge won't let somebody with a brain injury. You know, you go to court, chances are
You're not going to be on the jury.
I'd let them have their kids if they can deal with it. You know, people
Well-
don't want the judges. They just won't let somebody that's drawing benefits or whatever has a brain injury.
Oh, really?
They won't let
Okay,
them.
I'm unaware of that.
Yeah, they take your kids away if somebody wants them. It's
So
sad.
you can imagine the shock of that. The love's not lost on these people, but you imagine. I can't imagine that. That's
Yeah, I've heard stories.
Yeah,
I mean, where
I don't-
people actually, you know, collect money from a wreck or something that was involved in the whole situation, and they're the family part. They take their money. They're gone. They come back and start seeing their kids and want them back a year or 3 later.
well, and sometimes it's not. You're talking about car crashes and money changing hands. Usually, there's a significant change in lifestyle because of monetary reductions. You know, my wife and I successfully ran a printing business and doing very well. I had 15 employees, and you know, we're going very, very strong. And then, you know, on Monday, my life was one way, and on Tuesday night, my life was another. You know, and it changed rather dramatically. And I had to make a decision. Okay, do I focus on the business, or do I take care of family and my wife? I chose family and wife. Now I want you to know that that's almost 20 years later. So don't be afraid to make changes, but it significantly affected our income, as you might imagine, Dave. I mean, and this is one of those small businesses that are usually not set up with a package or whatever, and then of course the medical bills roll in. And I've repeated myself on other shows, but you get this bill, and your wife's still in ICU, and it's for $28,000 from the emergency room. You're like,
And that's just a penny drop.
yeah, what? And so these are all the challenges you're going to have, but that's why we're here, and that's why we're talking today, because we want to comfort you to know that, especially you caregivers, because it's tough enough on the people who are injured like Matt and my wife, but it's even tougher for you because suddenly you're where you never thought you would be, okay? And so, some precautions, if you are a small business owner, maybe having income insurance, disability insurance. God forbid that someone doesn't make it, plan on what you do with the will and that sort of thing, medical power of attorney. These are all critical things that we would hope that you would address. I suggest you address it with an attorney. You can go online and get all kinds of forms, but they may or may not be appropriate in the state of Indiana, Ohio, or wherever you're listening to this. But, plan ahead, and if you want to joke about it, this is never going to happen to me, that's great, but if something happens, you're in good shape. So, consider those things. And, there's going to be challenges, but we're here for you, okay? Matt, I don't know, I went on, I prattled, sorry about that. But you started eating, so I'm going to go over to Dave.
Well,
My stomach's hurting. I had pills in my stomach.
It feels okay. All right. Well, that's
okay, but knowing the trauma that your wife went through and that you've gone through caring for her, is she different, better? It's been a long time, but
she's wonderful, Dave. She's
Okay.
actually wonderful. It's been worth the time and the effort, and we'll be in October married 45 years.
Oh, wow.
Our children are all successful and well placed, and they were little kids then. It's like I said, 19 years ago, and so the challenge to them was there too.
Sure.
It wasn't just Dad who
Right.
they lost Mom, and very, very horrendous situation. So it's worthwhile, and if anything, and Matt can attest to this, my wife is sweeter and nicer
Kind as can be.
and wonderful. And
And they let her drive. They don't let me drive, but they let her drive.
well, now they let her drive, but I tend not to. And that's the other thing.
Just wasn't needed
Okay,
pretty
well,
much. But
knowing the limits
we
of
live
your
in Milton.
ability, Matt.
Exactly.
right.
Okay, and I think we're kind of segueing into the next part of our program. The limits of your ability may be you can drive around the rural areas that you're in here, might be able to drive, well, nobody could successfully drive in Richmond a few months ago, but anyway.
Somebody fixed one of my scooters for me. I could drive in Milton. I got 3. They don't run.
We'll get to that. But the important thing is realize what the challenge of their ability. Going shopping, driving locally, and that sort of thing is okay. Going to Indianapolis, 465. There seem to be a lot of challenge drivers there. But knowing the limits of your ability as to what, cook their own dinner, leave the stove on or off, these skills may need to be relearned. And Matt is, when the brain is injured, and you can see that the brain is, if you'll cut to Matt's hat, we'll know that there is brain injury, okay? We've got to zoom in on this one, guys. I'll tell you what. Is that a Celtics fan or what?
Well, yes. But that doesn't mean I'm brain injured, Larry. I had a friend in Preble
Oh,
County,
he took his brain
Ohio.
off. Oh, man.
That was. I'll wear it. You want to wear it? Cover it.
No.
Up.
We're at a
Dave?
level of
No.
health awareness we're not sharing.
This is a. They came up with this hats and that hats for women stuff a few years ago. This lady made me this one and was
brain
making a
hat.
few other a brain hat.
Okay.
And the segue is in and out. My invitation that I did not get a complete to the Brain Injury Awareness Day at
Yeah.
Congress.
You might want to take that off so we can hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Well, all we hear is you sound like the teacher in Charlie Brown.
Don't shake my hand then. We got all that. No. I'm trying to be funny. I can be a lot funnier, but public TV.
Yes, be clean. Now you realize before your brain injury, she would have made you a different hat. Mm-hmm.
Woman hat?
No.
What do they call them?
It would end in head. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey.
Anyway.
But, made the hats, give them away, sold them at different conferences and stuff. And
Neat.
I was going to take it to Washington, D.C. I was invited to Congressional Day for Brain Injury Awareness Month on November 4th, I believe, or 6th.
Mm-hmm.
My ride and passion didn't quite make it.
Okay.
But I was going to celebrate. They wanted to talk about radio and TV show, or at least pat me on the back or whatever.
Yeah.
I wanted to go check out Congress myself. But,
Speaking of brain injured, huh? Okay.
yeah, and that wasn't necessarily,
Crooked Congress.
that's why I'm not making fun of certainly brain injury awareness or
No.
I don't want to make fun of the coronavirus,
Either.
Corona,
There you go.
Corona and Lyme,
2 limes.
2 limes with yours.
But
I
we'll get into
don't.
that. And
I think that's a South
'cause
South American.
We're into we're going to tease you for the next show because we're running out of time here. But that level of abilities that we were talking about, for instance, Matt dressing himself in the morning, maybe someone could help. But and from a style or fashion point of view. But the important thing to know is that people have a limits of ability, and we'll address this in the next show here. When we know the limits of ability or where we're at, or where our loved one is at, or our friend, we need to watch out for them because they're susceptible to, they assume everybody's telling the truth, for instance, because they don't lie, they don't know to lie. So somebody wants to come out and do landscaping or fix your roof or paint the house or work on the car or whatever, and they're willing to sign off on things sometimes. So, be careful and watch out for your loved ones and those that you care about so that you don't have these things happen.
Well, thank you for mentioning that because
Well, we're going to address it here in the next show. So
right, it's
hang in
recently
there for us,
happened,
and we've got an example of it. And unfortunately, unfortunately, there are a lot of examples like that. So, the
we're going to talk
important
about that in coronavirus, right?
we're going to just
Swine
basic
disease.
things. Why not? Why not, Dave? Huh?
Sure.
What do you think?
Sure.
Your game?
I'm as ignorant about things as everybody else. So I'll be a good listener for this and maybe ask a question or two.
Yeah,
Well, I figured you must have certainly, all them 39 years teaching school, you came across some kind of virus.
Well, what Dave knows is if you're going to let somebody talk in class like Mahlon, let him go until he finally embarrasses himself so bad, and then call him aside and say, you really messed that one up, right, Dave? You got a D-. Yeah.
Well, you had to be careful, The thing is, I taught seniors, mostly, and the good thing about seniors is that by the time they get to be seniors, you can't mess them up. All right, they're already know what they're going to do pretty much after school. It's not that they're going to be a miracle happening their senior year. The only thing that you can do seniors is irritate them, and the longer I taught, the longer I didn't have to use irritate or tick them off.
That's why he's so good with us.
Sure.
Well, thanks for listening, guys. We're going to be back in here again, and we're going to talk about brain injury awareness, some health and cleaning type issues, because that's a current thing for our country. And we'll wind this down by noting that Matt has on his yellow glasses so that he's not getting any glare. He has removed his brain, external brain, and that he is fully functioning here as host.
I still believe in Larry Bird.
God bless you.
I'm a Hoosier. It's just the way it is.
That's right. That's right.
And I'll go to the basketball game. But
Okay. Well, if we have one, but you guys take care. Great being here.
IUS is in the tournament
Dave,
right now. Go
thanks.
Wolves.
You sure?
Yeah, they play tomorrow night from this taping.
Okay. Well, by the time you see this, you'll know.
They're in the national finals.
Okay. As you wish. Anything you want to say on the way out?
No, I'm not sure where we're at.
We're closing down, man.
Yeah, I know, but I'd start
Oh, you
right
got a
back
list?
up. Yeah, I got a list of things. And
Oh, boy. Now, that's the other thing,
keep
prioritizing.
in charge with your doctors. I mean,
Prioritizing, okay. Now, I'm joking with my wife about this, okay. The house is on fire. She needs to go downstairs for the laundry, and she'd like to have a cup of coffee. All of those were equal for her when we got her back. So, you know, it's like, okay, let's get out of the house.
Yes.
Let's do that first and call 911. It's tough. Prioritizing. Mm-hmm. All right, man.
well, that's what, like I say, I saw a guy last week at, there's a large money drawing in Post 169 in Cambridge.
We're out of, hurry it up.
And
And you haven't won yet. Is
no,
that-
I saw a guy that I went to Bix with years ago,
Yeah.
and he's just faded away from brain injury recovery.
Okay.
I could tell that that wasn't a choice he probably needed to do.
Well, we got to encourage people to be in there, okay? Again, thanks. It's always a pleasure. And there's one way or another to reach us. Don't forget that, okay? All right, man.
The topics discussed and the information provided on this program is for general information. The hosts of this show are not medical professionals and are expressing their personal views and stories related to their individual lives. Their views are not intended to be used or taken as medical information. If you or a family member have suffered a traumatic brain injury, you should seek help from a practicing licensed physician.